A warm welcome to you all, my dear students. Hope you all are doing well. Now, let's see some pictures and you can check whether do you have any experience of these things. Have you ever seen these kinds of movies or pictures in your life? Okay. Now, do you have any idea about our lesson? Okay. All of you please take page number 99 in your English textbook. Today we are going to see about the poem of the Adventure, written by George Crocus. He is the author of the poem of Adventure. First, we'll see about the author, George Crocus. George is an aspiring poet who has written quite a number of poems inspired by nature, science, philosophy, and the spiritual aspects of life. George Crocus was born on 30th June 1951. Over 35 years, he has practiced various forms of yoga and meditation. Okay, let's move to the poem. Deep inside the mountain, the adventures hide themselves. They are of all forms and shapes. They all have an excellent ending because those that live their lives in adventure see the world in an extraordinary, special way. First, deep inside the mountain, the adventures hide themselves. Here, adventure refers to the daring experiences. So, those who wanted to be different in their life, they all hide themselves inside the mountain. They are of all forms and shapes. They are in forms of shapes like mountains. They all have an excellent ending. They all wanted to be excellent and they wants to touch the peak of the mountain because those that live their lives in adventure see the world in an extraordinary special way, not like the other human being. Those who wanted to live their life as an adventure wanted to be the extraordinary special people. Extraordinary, underline the word extraordinary and write unusual. They wanted to be an extraordinary people. When we move to the second stanza, to attract the adventurers into the patterns of habit, you only need to close your eyes and ask them to embrace you. You can also imagine that you are transparent and feel the wind stream through you instead of going against you. Or imagine there are tiny little wings on your back, and every time you take a new step, you bounce a bit. To attract the adventure into the patterns of habit, you only need to close your eyes and ask them to embrace you. Here, the author asks us to close our eyes and adopt ourselves to become an adventure. Then, here, underline the word embrace and write to adopt. You can also imagine that you are transparent and feel the wind stream through you instead of going against you. Underline the word transparent and write very clear. Here the author says we want to be very clear to become an adventure. Then only we can able to feel the wind stream through us, not against us. Then, or imagine there are tiny little wings on your back. Then only we can able to imagine that tiny little wings on our back like an angel. And every time you take a new step, you bounce a bit. Underline the word bounce and write something springly. Every time we can able to take a new step to become an adventure. Then we move to the third stanza. Maybe life itself is one big adventure if only you have the correct shades on. Back in the days of old, when knights were bold, who with a sword or lance in armor sought romance. Maybe life itself is one big adventure if only you have the correct shades on. The author says a life will become an adventure if we have a correct shades in our life. Then, back in the days of old, when knights were bold, who with a sword or lance in armor sought romance, the author take us to the olden days. In olden days, the knights were very bold with sword. Here, underline the word knights and write warrior. Sword means weapon. Then, armor means metal garment. The metal garment used by the knights to save themselves. Fourth stanza. It was the age of chivalry, long ago in man's history, when to fight for a righteous cause, one did gain considerable applause. It was the age of chivalry. This is the period of chivalry. During chivalry periods, knights used to fight with other countries. When to fight for a righteous cause, one did gain considerable applause. When they were fight for righteous, underline the word righteous and write justice. When they were fought for justice, they got considerable applause. Underline the word considerable and write great. So, when they fought for righteous, they got considerable applause means appreciation. We shall go to the fifth stanza. It was mainly for show, love and glory. They deemed themselves being worthy to capture the heart of some fair maiden, which was the most desired prize laden. Oh, they would strike heavy blows on all of their opponents and foes in a one-to-one combat, defying death as crowds watched with bated breath. Here, in olden days, knights used to fight and won the match to capture the heart of some fair maiden. Maiden here, maiden refers to the unmarried women, which was the most desired prize laden. Oh, they would strike heavy blows on all of their opponents and foes. Underline the word opponent and write opposite team. And foes means enemies. They won their enemies to capture the hearts of the maiden. And as the crowd watched with abated breath, when the crowd were watching their war, they won their war. Students, I hope you all have understood the poem very well. Now I am going to ask some questions. You have to answer. Okay. First, where do adventure hide? Do you know the answer? Where do adventure hide? Yes, very good. Inside the mountain. The second question. Pick up the rhyming words in the third stanza. Please take your book and see the third stanza. Pick up the rhyming words. Yes, very good. Old, bold, lands, romance. Then third question. What is the meaning of adventure? At first we saw no. What is the meaning of adventure? Yes, daring experience. Very good, students. Hope you all have understood the poem very well and you have answered very well. And again read the poem. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Okay. Thank you, students. Thank you for your cooperation.